Selamat welcome to Receh Reviews, where I, DZ, talk about the latest and most popular Indonesian movies currently out in the Indonesian theaters. Today we'll be reviewing Dilan 1990, which is a movie that came out in theaters on the 25th of January 2018. And as of filming this right now, which is the 22nd of February, it's still out in cinemas and in fact not losing ground at all. The film is directed by Fajar Bustomi and it stars Iqbal Ramadan, who is famous because he was part of Cowboy Jr., an Indonesian boy band, and Vanessa Priscilla, who is famous because reasons. I honestly don't know. Either way, they both are new actors and actresses. This is their big silver screen debut. And very interesting to point out that this movie is actually written by P.D. Baik, who is also the original writer of the Dilan 1990 novel, which is the novel this film was based off of. But what do we think about this movie? Oh, Dilan 1990. Well, let's just say, let's make it positive, it was hella entertaining. The thing is, this movie tried really hard to make it seem like Dilan is a very charming personality. I guess that's what the script wanted him to be. Unfortunately, however, his line delivery was, let's be honest, it was creepy. Many times we look at Dilan and how he delivered his lines, and Radol and I genuinely felt uncomfortable, am I right?
Yes.
So, at the end of the day, I guess it's because the direction wasn't good enough, or maybe perhaps it was the actor and actresses, which is what we're gonna get to. So, what I view the most, that's the biggest mistake in the acting in this movie, was the fact that none of the characters really felt realistic whatsoever. I mean, you're supposed to make me believe that Dilan, who is this super charming, handsome kid who comes from a pretty upper middle class background, is supposed to also be a hardcore motorcycle gangster. We don't really see that at all. We don't see the fact that he's a badass motorcycle gangster. Yeah, I just didn't feel like I knew these characters at all. Going into the movie and getting out of the movie, I literally learned not too much about the characters. The exposition of the characters in the movie was pretty cheap, let's be honest. It was cheap, it was cheesy. We only knew that, you know, Vanessa was a hopeless romantic because it was basically just, you know, flashed to us in the movie like, look, she's a romantic, guys, she's a romantic. And we're supposed to know that Dilan is apparently also very charming because the many times he was doing all these really cutesy things and all the people in the cinema were going, ah! But unfortunately, the stilted acting wasn't just isolated to the case of Vanessa Priscilla and Iqbal Ramadan. It was everyone else in the movie. The movie is supposed to be set in Bandung, which is where me and Radal are from, am I right?
Yes, we are.
So, they're supposed to be Bandung high school kids, and unfortunately, none of them really spoke Indonesian the way that people here speak Indonesian. They don't have that Sundanese oomph to their accent. They don't have that. They speak very formally. And when I say formally, I'm talking about like Indonesia Lawyers Club formal, which is very out of place considering the fact that they're high school kids in Bandung. Well, they did try to speak Sundanese. They added some Sundanese dialogue, but unfortunately, the Sundanese dialogue, it felt really forced because it was only done when, for example, this one scene where Dilan goes to a market and he spoke a little bit of Sundanese to the lady. And sure, that's in context. However, his accent, oh dear, I'm not even good at Sundanese, and I felt like the accent was atrocious. What did you think of the Sundanese accent there?
It was horrible.
Yes, it was. See, look what you did to my son. Unfortunately, the acting wasn't the only thing that was horrible. Let's talk about the effects. Oh boy, the effects. Let's be honest. Some of the effects were literally the best part of the movie. There was this one scene where a motorcycle gang, a rival motorcycle gang of Dilan's motorcycle gang, attacked the high school, and they threw a rock. And God forbid you missed that scene, because that rock, it was CGI. It was a CGI rock flying through the air. Indosiar quality CGI. Flying through the air, and there was dramatic music. I'm talking about like Dunkirk levels of dramatic. It was like, yo, but it was just a rock. And then it crashed through the window, and suddenly the movie just turns into Saving Private Ryan. I don't even know. And aside from the effects, the production of the film felt really comical, because they tried so hard to make it seem like the movie is set in the 1990s. It was supposed to be set in 1990. Unfortunately, let's just say they tried. They really tried hard. They have all these nice looking CB100 motorcycles that are from that era. They have all these cars with the plate numbers as well that are supposed to be written in 1991 or something. You know, the expiration date is in the 90s, which is good effort, but unfortunately everything else around it just didn't work for them. There was this one scene where Radal and I were laughing our heads off, because we could have sworn we saw like a CBR 250 in the background. Was it the red one or the blue one?
It's the red one.
It was the red one. It was a red CBR, and there was another scene when they were driving down, and we can see clearly all the way, like 100 meters away from where the camera is, like all the way in the background. We can literally see a Toyota Avanza, and it was glorious. It was amazing, because it's so funny. They tried so hard, but it didn't work. What the hell happened? And even if those vehicles, you know, one can maybe say, oh, maybe those are like variants, the 1990s variants of those vehicles. Sure, you can give it that excuse, but you can't give the excuse that there was one scene where they were driving down, and it was a green screen effect around them, and oh god, the green screen was horrible. It was comical. Radal and I laughed so hard, we had a stomachache. He nearly threw up his popcorn, didn't you?
Almost.
Yeah, so that was a green screen driving scene, and despite the fact that it's green screen, which means they could have taken the liberty of editing and maybe, you know, also not including a few background choices. Some of the backgrounds in that green screen scene was literally post-2000 eras, like minimalistic houses, you know, the nice fancy cubist looking houses, and it was there, and we're still supposed to believe this was set in the 1990s. Oh my god. And general aesthetics wise, the movie just really didn't add up. Like, for example, Dilan, this bad boy gangster, his clothes were like cleaner than my shirt the entire time in the movie. There was no like creases, he always had it untucked, there was no like dust stains or anything, despite the fact that he was, you know, riding a motorcycle all the time. And, hey my god, don't even get me started on how the makeup looks like. The makeup was just disastrous. There was a scene where Dilan had a heavy fight. It was some raid stuff. It was like Marantau times 5, you know. Like, I could have sworn Iko Uwais was the one doing the fighting. So it was heavy, crazy music and everything. And it was like, you know, vibrating camera. It was like shaky cam. Like, oh my god, this is some Michael Bay shit. And what did Dilan get? What kind of injury? He literally got a cut, which looked like it was freaking drawn on by a marker pen. And oh, no torn clothes whatsoever. It was like the only scene where we saw his clothes actually got dirty, right, Radal?
Yeah, very dirty.
Yeah, it was the only scene where it got dirty, but everything else, his clothes were like iron pressed and probably also like a bunch of all that fabric softener. Either way, it just didn't add up. The aesthetics was horrible, the acting was horrible, and let's not even count the plot, which was laughable. The plot felt copy-pasted. I don't know who to blame. I don't know whether I should blame the writer or I should blame the director, because it felt like a mess. Not just the fact that it felt like a mess. It felt like it didn't feel like a whole story. It felt like a bunch of short stories kind of clumsily glued together, and they threw it in together and they say, here, look at our movie. Let's not even mention the fact that the movie is almost 2 hours long. No, was it 2 hours?
1:30 minutes.
1 hour 30 minutes, but it felt like 2 hours. I have more fun watching a Persib game for 90 minutes. Don't kill me, Persib fans. But anyways, really though, the movie just felt like a bunch of short scenes collected together. Like nothing really felt like it was gonna be built up. I mean, the grand climax of the movie was that fight I talked about previously, where it was heavy fighting and he got like a little boo-boo on the side of his face, and just, yeah, it was really silly, and that was supposed to be the climax of the movie. We thought there was gonna be other shit coming after that, but no, the movie just closed off with that silly little romantic guitar strumming, ding, ding, ding song. It was so corny, it was so bad, and why I say I can't really blame the I can't really blame the writer 100%. Maybe I should blame the director, is because in terms of direction, this movie, oh dear, not only the aesthetic side, not only the cinematography side. I mean, the cinematography, most of it was just it was just okay. It wasn't amazing, it wasn't some Wes Anderson brilliance, but it wasn't, you know, horrible Indosiar 8 p.m. Sinetron either, but it could have been done so much better. And in terms of plot, the director can be the one who's to blame as well, because he simply just didn't direct these actors good enough. This is gonna go back to the acting. But a lot of the acting in this movie just felt so weird. It was so unnecessary. There was one scene where Vanessa's character's boyfriend, who apparently comes all the way from Jakarta, who's this rich kid. The first time we were introduced to this boyfriend character, he was a sweetheart. He drove all the way from Jakarta to Bandung before the whole highway was built, you know, where we can get from Jakarta to Bandung back and forth in like 2 hours. This was the time when from Jakarta to Bandung it would take you like 5 hours of driving. He came all the way to Bandung and surprised her for her birthday, and that's such a sweet moment. It was like, oh, okay, that's nice. And then the very next scene, we see him literally call her a whore in public, and like slamming food and everything, and punching one of her friends, and it just felt so strange, because there was no indication whatsoever that her boyfriend was gonna have that sort of character. And aside from that, the whole characters around him was also directed very terribly, and some of the side characters had straight up cringe moments. There was this one moment where, was it Dilan's mom or Milia's mom? Whatever. Dilan's mom came to Milia's house, and Dilan's mom told Milia's mom, hey, your daughter is very pretty. May I kiss her? And then her mom says yes. And then she turns to Milia and she says, may I kiss you? And then she said yes. And the way she kissed him, it wasn't even like the way she kissed her, I mean, it wasn't even it was like a, what? Did she have cocaine on her skin? I don't know what's going on in this movie anymore. Oh God. So overall, like I said, the acting was horrible, the aesthetics was laughable, and the direction and, you know, the plot and everything, other technical factors, they were also broken. That's why I'm gonna give this movie a generous 2 out of 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you disagree with my review, please don't let me stop you from watching the movie, or don't let me stop you from enjoying the movie. If you genuinely think the movie is good, then that's your opinion. This is just my humble opinion. But whatever you think of the movie, can you please leave it in the comments below. And don't forget to hit the like button if you enjoyed this video, and smash the subscribe button for more Recehnes. Salam Receh!